Hello, my beautiful viewers out there. Welcome to another wonderful episode of your favorite talk show, Serenity TV. So today we'll be treating a very interesting topic, which says, does honesty always serve positive purpose in business? So today with me are
Henry Ibe, our second chair, and Chijo Kemuna.
so together we'll all be treating on this wonderful topic. So stay tuned and listen and watch us as we all delve into this topic. So, sirs, today we'll be treating the topic, does honesty always have a positive impact when it comes to business? So, what are your thoughts? Does honesty always have a positive impact? First of all, before we go into this whole topic, what is honesty, if I may ask?
Okay, honesty actually, from my own point of view, is being fair in your dealings with people, like being fair. So, why dealing with people if they are not truthful? Because honesty works with trust. You get. So when that honesty is not there, see that trust will not be there. So being fair with your dealings with people, I think that's what honesty is all about.
I think I completely disagree.
Okay.
Because honesty has a lot more to deal with than just saying being fair to people. You can be fair to people, but you might not be an honest person. Do you understand?
When we come into this, I'm looking at that the valuable assets. It has to do with being fair and having the capacity to be straightforward when it comes to your business and customers. But it's not necessarily a must that you will be all out when it comes to business transactions. That's the only thing when it comes to being honest. Yeah, you should be honest, but to a certain limit. Don't know because you shouldn't go more than what you ought to do. This is business, as I say.
Okay. So, in general knowledge, now, honesty simply means being truthful and sincere in your words and actions.
It's completely transparent with regards to everything that you do.
Alright?
Just to foster visibility
Alright.
and transparency. That's what
Okay, that's perfect. So now back to the question. Does honesty serve a positive purpose in business? That is the topic we are dealing with now. So back to the question. I would like to hear your views. Does honesty serve a positive purpose when it comes to business?
Okay, honesty, from my own perspective, it does serve a positive purpose in business. But you will be, to be honest, with regards to your business transactions, regardless of if you sell goods and services or you actually render, maybe you, for example, you render a service. You understand? Honesty is important, but honesty has to be brought into a business place or be in a business place with emotional intelligence. Let me give you an instance. For instance, you're running this place with a generator, and we all know we have power supply challenge. So, if you have customers waiting to be attended to, what happens when all of a sudden your generator packs up? Are you just going to come out and say, our generator not spoiled? So that is honest.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But when I mean you have to apply tact and emotional intelligence when being honest in a business environment, it simply means you just come out and say, we're facing power challenges. You understand? You're saying the same thing.
diplomatically.
Exactly.
I think the approach to business when it comes to being honest really does matter.
Yes.
That you're honest doesn't mean you should use your business strategies and come out like using for example the sweets on the table. And the sweets on the table, the producer will not really give you an honest review that this is how much that it costs me to produce this. The producer will tell you after much production, he put up his own market, his margins, and tell you, okay, fine, this is what I'm selling it. Not that this is what it is totally. And he sells it to people that sells it. The person who's selling it will not come and tell you this is what I got from the market.
Yeah.
You understand?
I completely disagree with you.
Okay.
In the sense that what is the sense of being in business? You're in business to make profits.
So why would I go out to tell them how much I got?
No, you can't do that.
So that's exactly where I'm coming from. You're just
You can't do that, but you can't say the person is not being honest.
no, you're not even getting my point. Like I'm being totally frank here. This is business, yeah. Okay, in business, we try as much as possible to be diplomatic. I call it being diplomatic. Because you don't come all out to tell someone this is what this is. This is what I'm selling. Like when I went to somewhere to go and get cotton this for my business. To use on cotton wall. So the guy was actually selling it for 6,500. This is what they sell for 5,000, and they came out with that this is what he sells it for. It doesn't matter what the other sells. He's being on this is what he sells it for. It has nothing to do with being honest. This is business strategy. This is business. In business, it's not like he's not being honest with that, but this is what he sells it for. I don't say there's two different things, being honest and being straight. Being this is strategic growth, saying this is what I sell it for. Because if you start going down to a person that produces that particular thing, everybody's like,
And at some point, I agree with you, but when you talk about being diplomatic and doing business with people, okay, for example, now I sell clothes, I'm a business guy, I sell clothes in Oka. So when I buy from my customer, it will be like, okay, this is actually the price for this, but this is fake. This is not the original price for this.
did you go to the market with him to find out it's fake?
No, actually,
So you're wasn't it there and you
no, actually, this is he buys from the wholesale.
yeah, exactly. They won't come out and tell you this is how much exactly is getting because there's no one who will be totally honest with you to tell you this is
I don't really see that as a question of honesty. You know, I was saying before that I completely disagree with you. Why? In the sense that if you're in business, take for instance, I'm a web developer. You understand? If I decide to say, okay, I'm running a web development firm, or I'm doing social media marketing, and I'm coming to tell you as a client that, okay, this is the price tag I placed on my service. Regardless of what you can obtain that service in the market or elsewhere. You understand? It's a question of perception. Who do I see myself as? I can tell you that in the country, I am number one, being a Puma is number two, then the rest fall in line. So that is the essence of my having that price. You cannot come and say, oh, you're not being honest because of the price you charge. You understand? Now let's go back to let's say take for instance this microphone. Businesses have margins. Sure. I can decide to go into microphone manufacturing, and I know that my margin for manufacturing this microphone and putting it to market after my marketing is 30%. You understand? Another person can come up with it. I could be manufacturing in Nigeria while someone else is manufacturing in China. The person might come in with a business margin of 70%. You understand? You will not say the person is not honest.
exactly.
Because market forces are at play here, and we all are in business to make profits.
So
I think honestly has to do more with how you deal with a client, service delivery.
Okay.
In the sense that I'm selling this to you, and I'm telling you this thing has what is it called? It has a 10 watts capacity. You understand? And you don't go home and now discover that the microphone I sold to you is 10 watts.
Yeah.
I think that's where honesty comes in, not in my business magic.
well, what I'm looking at, in one way, I couldn't say something to you. Because, like I said, I don't know what it works for others. The way you present yourself is what you see.
Yeah.
The way you handle it is the way you build yourself to be. You cannot just come and just like for example, I'll use the clothes for example, my clothes as well. We have two boutiques, both own boutiques, selling material selling for 15 naira above what you're selling. But I put it to you that it still depends on how the person meets you afterwards. You understand? I can't really tell if this person is being honest. But like I said, how diplomatic I am in meeting you halfway. How do I approach my client? How do I talk to them? How do I convince them that this is what it is? Because nobody, I put it to you, nobody in the business world comes out to say exactly what he gets to do. So
Okay.
I put it to you.
So do you see that as being dishonest?
No, this is business. I call it business. I call it diplomacy when it comes to business. It's not, it has nothing to do, when the honesty comes into play, is when you say, okay, fine, I will deliver these goods in 2 or 3 days, and you deliver it in that 2 or 3 days. This is all being honest. I'll deliver your food like when you're now doing the production, when you're in the producing aspect of this goods, and you say, okay, I'll deliver this in 2 or 3 days, I keep to that your words in 2 or 3 days. So this guy is honest enough.
When does it mean that when you don't deliver in 2 3 days, you're not a
Well, in that,
No, I think that part actually comes to put credibility of
the person, yes.
Yes, I think that is where that part comes to.
The aspect of being credible, the other aspect of it is another thing. But the main thing is this: I see no reason why someone will come and tell me that you got the chewing-gum and instead of that chewing-gum for 20 naira, whereby you got the chewing-gum for 50 naira, tell me the person's not being honest, this is what you want to sell it. In business, I don't say it as being honest, I say it as this is what I'm selling, this is what I choose to sell. You don't have any right to judge me if I'm honest or not. When I see that honest play, it's why I tell you this is this and this is this. If I tell you this is cotton, let my cotton be cotton. Not after being cotton, I'll go over there and check it. It's now silk. I don't know if you're getting my point. If my A stands to be my A, my B stands to be my B, and let people know me for that. That's being honest. That's where I see that. That's the part that's the honest place in. The aspect of trying to tell you that this food I got it for 20 naira and then make me because that's what you got it for. No, that's
so I think in the profits part of it, businessmen are not honest.
Nobody is.
I would like to ask a question. Does honesty actually, is it important in like when it comes to negotiation? When you're negotiating a business, like let's say bidding for a contract or something, is honesty, does it play a huge role? That when you know that okay, maybe your company is actually bidding for a particular project and you have to bid for that, maybe your company is lacking inside when you win that bid, you might not be able to like produce or be able to afford whatever it is that you needed. But because you need it, or maybe because the profit is actually high at the end of the day. So you tend to like make sure you convince the panel that okay, your company is qualified for this bid, whether truly or not. So does honesty actually play an important role when you are negotiating a business or a deal? Does honesty play a good role in that aspect? Is it necessary to be honest or being dishonest?
Okay, actually, this is a difficult one.
Okay.
Because very difficult because everybody wants to make that profit. They need that money at that point.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me that you have a huge contract and you don't, because you are lacking one or two, you want to tell them so that the contract moves to another person or another company.
So you're saying now dishonesty comes
at that point, as a businessman, as a Nigerian, we can actually, at the points when that equipment or things are needed, we can actually sort for a second.
What do you mean by as a Nigerian?
Yeah, because
I don't agree with you. I'm also a Nigerian. You're indirectly trying to make us look bad.
no, it's not that I'm making the Nigerians look bad. As an Igbo man, like people that are also as a businessman, yes, because we need that money. Because in a business,
You need that money, not we.
okay, because
Specific.
because that person or that company needs that money at that point in time, so they will tend to at least accept that contract. Maybe at the process, they will look for the subordinates, maybe how to get the necessary thing to measure up to what they are actually.
Okay. Don't you think that if, let's say, in the process of negotiating for this contract, if you're not being honest, or let's say you're not being truthful about maybe in your production or whatever it is you guys are about to produce, if on the long run, if you finally win that bid and you're not able to meet up to the demand, don't you think it kind of breaches that trust and reduces your your potentials to have more opportunity in the future when it comes to winning contract? Because number one, you're not being straightforward and you're not being truthful. Don't you think so?
Most times in business, what you bargain is not what you see.
Okay.
Most times, you said plan. for something to happen the way it's going to be, and it doesn't come out the way it's supposed to be most times. It's a win-win thing, or it's a win-lose thing. Being transparent or being honest is a different thing when it comes to bidding for contracts, because this will be, when you're bidding for a contract, you're not the person bidding for that contract. Just either you bid lower or you bid higher. So the person, the winner, the best bid wins the job. So when it comes to honesty, I don't bring it in the aspect of bidding of contracts.
I disagree with you. Why? Why do I disagree? Let me give you an instance. At some point, you know that, let me just, because both of you are being diplomatic with the topic of discourse. Now, talking about honesty in contract bidding, that simply entails that if the company that is giving out this contract is saying there is a prerequisite for you to bid for this contract, maybe you must have this level of safety compliance, you must have this number of staff, and this your staff must have this what is it called, certification, and experience, so to say. Now, some people go as far as generating those things, forging them. You understand? So forging those things is complete dishonesty. You're not being honest. So because there's a very thin line between honesty and dishonesty.
Yes.
Some might call it tact, some might call it the art of negotiation, but dishonesty is dishonesty. Let me give you another instance. In the early days of SpaceX, Elon Musk started SpaceX. I think one of these groups, Rocket to Riches. When he started SpaceX, he went to bid for a contract with NASA. Meanwhile, Boeing and Lockheed Martin were still bidding for the same contract. And it is recorded that Boeing and Lockheed have this principle they operate on, that they don't get out of bed for less than $1 billion. So Musk came for the contract. And when they asked him, what rocket are you going to use to launch this satellite into orbit for us? He said, I'm still using the rockets. So the company issuing the contract, the representative laughed at him and said, you're coming to bid for rocket satellite launching contract with paper rockets. You don't even have a rocket and you're sitting here. You understand? Now, I don't think Musk was dishonest. He came to that place because he believes he can execute the job. When they asked him if he had a rocket, he said, no, I'm still building it. You understand? And believe me, along the line, you might argue that that's an entirely different country with different systems and different menus. He was equally given an opportunity because he took them to court that they just awarded a contract to Boeing and Lockheed Martin without proper bidding. And he won that case. The evidence of the fact that he didn't have the paperwork for that contract. So, for me as an individual and as a business person, I believe that when it comes to bidding for contracts, if you pad your papers, you are very, very dishonest.
Okay.
Well, padding of papers, not padding of papers, business still remains business, contract remains contract. He was honest, yes, because he used a lawyer to fight the case, but it came up on a fair and square term. The people had what they had to win the contract. If I were going to the other side. Now, in being of contract, I'll use myself as an example. Like I bid for so many contracts, so far so good, and I know fully well it has to do with integrity and being able to deliver the job so far so good. Your client doesn't see you as being honest enough to tell him that this is the only part you call being honest is this is the market price. You're giving the list for the materials and goods. I'm a building contractor. When you come in and you give your client this is the bill of quantity of the materials in the market. And those materials in the market, you go to check it or quantify it, it turns out to be the same amount that it comes to being the amount of those building, the exact price of those building materials that you want to use. That's being honest enough. But when it comes to bidding for your fare, this is what I charge. This is a different ball game. Billing for what is your fee is different from what you might charge for his own fee.
Okay, now we are talking about like general.
That's what I'm just telling you. It's a general
So you're saying if I'm bidding for a contract and I'm quoting something that is not the same market value or the same price of what is obtainable in the market, that means dishonest.
So maybe that if you're coming on the material side, when there are two ways to bid for contract. Either you come up with the materials, when you quote the materials differently and you quote your labor fee differently. Those are two different things. When you quote your material, the materials should order to not with your material.
Okay. Okay. Now coming to that aspect you're talking about now. Let's say for instance a startup company. Like someone who is trying to build a brand.
Okay.
You're trying to come up with a brand. Now, does honesty play a good role? Because you know that when you're building a brand, it's a long time something, and you're trying to build an image out there. So, are you going to come out just because you know that you're out? Every business knows how to make profits. Just because you know that you're out to make profits, are you just going to say something that you know that maybe your business is actually not up to that standard? I just want to draw. You also want to draw traffic to your business. I just have to say something, being dishonest. Not actually telling the public what exactly
What
is
we look at in respect to what you're saying, we're talking about integrity, we're not talking about honesty here.
we are asking honesty.
That's what I'm going to say. We don't talk about honesty in cases like this. Because I cannot tell for sure that they're being honest. Like human beings, I have to be very factual. I can't really tell something that will tell me that this guy's being honest with me because I don't have any fact to prove that you're honest with me enough. So what you should be looking at now is the person giving integrity to prove that he himself is capable to do the job, not being honest. Yeah. Because there's nothing you will tell me as a human being until you're being honest enough with me towards what we are doing or some dealings with you.
All right, I think let's just pause here. Let's go and short of the back. Welcome back, viewers. So, still on the topic, we are talking about if in business how it is that, let me say, credibility and so on. So now we want to talk about as a businessman. Let's take it personal. As a businessman, you're negotiating for a contract, and you are asked to, let me just say, this contract now is worth about $1 billion or $100 million. Let me just for instance. And now, the people giving out this contract, the company giving out this contract, and they tell me that, okay, since we bid, the money that we're giving to you is $100 million, we should make it $200 million. For instance, and you know maybe it's against your ethics as a businessman to do that. What are you going to do? And you know that this contract is crucial to you, to your business to thrive. How would you go about it?
Okay, I will actually speak from experience.
Okay.
So, because I worked in a timber market, the contract was given to a carpenter, for example. So the man was like, this is the amount that he will collect. So when he went to the timber market to get the stores, then the timber market, like this also had people. So they were like, okay, this is the amount you tell the owner. This is the actual amount you tell the owner. So that later on, you get your own share, I'll get my own share. You get. So at the long run, you see that you now that is giving this contract, you actually like to get your own share from it. So if you reject this offer now, you go to another person. And this is a general option in that timber market. If someone comes to get this stuff, this is the amount you tell the person. And this is the amount you have to tell the owner, so that the person will pay higher amount. You collect your own share, I'll collect my own share. So at that point now, if you reject that contract at that point, you see that you tend to lose at that moment. And for someone that needs money at that moment, so the person tends to.
In a case like this, I think this practical thing that is I'll use exactly what's happening presently now. One of my construction sites. I have a friend of mine. He likes sending, he likes to go to the market to get sensitive information about materials. But after getting those quotes, he will still send another person
Sure.
to go and check.
Yes.
boots. And when I noticed that, I didn't know that that's what he used to do. So until one very fateful day, he called me and he was, do you know the reason why I'm working with you? And I said that he has tried to find out within everybody that works with him. That's the reason why he chooses people that work with him. That people don't know that when you import, he sends people to go and check those material costs in the market. And when you go to the market, you find out what you gave Alice with what is in the market. Even if it's going to be a difference, it's going to be a amount different. That might be just based on the market variations by the customers, sellers that are selling in the market. So with that, I built that trust within him. And he comfortably tells me, okay, go to the market, get me this. And I'll go and get it without him now sending people to go and check. At the market, he sends the money and I get the stuff because I've built that relationship, that trust. If I was actually going there to do the markup of the bed, I wouldn't have gotten that trust to build this hotel presently now. And because of that trust issue, I was able to give him my share cost because the market does his verification and it gives me the money to buy the people. He knows exactly what I give to him, is what it is in the market, but all I'm after is that my labor fee. You understand? So I think if that trust wasn't there, I wouldn't have gotten this approval to work with him. So,
Okay, so let's hear from.
Yeah, when it comes to being honest in business, like we've been discussing, it simply boils down to first, we define honesty earlier. The quality of being truthful, regardless of the circumstances. Yes, I remember in the earlier days of telecommunication in Nigeria, I think Econet was just about one of the first companies to come to Nigeria. And I know Econet lost the telecoms contract in Nigeria because of bribery. They refused to pay bribe. It's in the case is in the public space. I think over time they even took the matter to the US. And that case lasted for close to 10 years. Stein Masiyiwa, who was then the owner of Econet, was in court for 10 years litigating what really happened. So at some point you just see that there are people who have gone down this road and the matter has ended and we've seen the end of it, how they were rewarded. But the time frame is what now comes into question. If any person or individual can afford to say, okay, I want to be honest in all my business dealings with other people. You understand? So basically, honesty, in as much as you want to be honest, there's a price to pay. If you really want to be dishonest, there's equally a price to pay. So as individuals, we have to choose how we want to carry out our business operations.
So it's a matter of your conscience.
Exactly.
Okay.
And principles as a person.
Okay.
Because when it comes to business, not just business, every career in life, what gets you there is talent, but what sustains you is character. And honesty is part of the person's character.
Okay, quickly, let's talk about the benefits of being honest in the business field. The benefits, what are the benefits of
referrals.
Okay.
Referrals comes into play. People refer you to, if you're honest enough, the client will refer you to some of the friends that this guy can do this, I know he can do for you.
Okay.
Understand? People talk about you, people refer to people.
I think one of the major benefits is that trust there. Because let's say at our local places, maybe someone that is selling food stuff. Now you see that this person is selling, they are selling for the same amount. And you see that this person is selling for a lesser amount. Then later on, you find out that this person, like, her goods are okay, her stores are okay, but she's selling for a lesser amount because that's actually what she thinks is good. Now you see that at some point you build a trust with that woman. Maybe if someone asks you, okay, where can I get this thing? You like go to that woman, she sells.
From the aspect of benefits.
Yes, that trust there can actually make you like get from this woman instead of other people. They do sell at higher prices because they think that their goods
But
are.
trust in what she's selling.
Yes.
Trust in the quality of her goods.
The quality of her goods.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And apart from that, you have social proof. Now, social proof comes from trust. Take for example, for instance, most businesses now are operating digitally.
Yeah.
So, for you to be able to have there's what we call inbound clients. Clients that come in through your feeds, through referrals and all that. People you've never met in your life, but they are going to recognize you. It comes as a result of social proof.
Yeah.
Testimonials and all that. So that is what honesty can do for a business person.
Okay. Okay, that's very beautiful. Now let's talk about the key considerations of honesty in business.
When you say key considerations, what?
Let's say now earlier I mentioned long term and short term. What does honesty do in the long term relationship with your clients? Now let's talk about the key. Let's talk about honesty. Let's talk about your reputation. Your reputation. We talked about benefits earlier. Your reputation now. Honesty. We made mention of something like that earlier. So now let's talk about reputation. What does honesty do? Like if you are in, because if you look at the profits part of it, you want to make profits in your business now, and you're looking at your reputation. Some people actually want to make that instant profit instantly. They don't think about long term, what's going to happen long term. Let's take a look at this honesty on the long term relationship, long term business deal.
Okay, when it comes to honesty in business, I don't like bringing profit into it because I believe honesty has nothing to do with your business profits. So,
Okay.
yes. Well,
Where I agree with you.
where I look at honesty and where the perspective I look at it from is that honesty in business to me is telling you this is this, and you go to the west, go to the south, go to the east, to the north. That is the same thing. So there are several consultants, for instance. Let's say when you're talking about road construction, there are consultants everywhere. Now, what consultant A is going to charge you is not what consultant B is going to charge you. Julius Berger won't charge you the same amount to construct road than maybe a native contractor will charge you. Julius Berger is not doing that because they are dishonest. They are doing it because this is the standard they value they place on themselves.
And they value the integrity.
Exactly. So it's a complete different scenario.
So thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for being on the show with us. So, like viewers, you've all heard it. We're talking about honesty today. Honesty basically means the positive principle, business crucial for building trust and on the long-term business. So please do well to leave your comments on our comment section. What your opinion, what you think about today's topic. Do well to leave it on and do well to follow us at Serenity TV. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you.